Hi Mama, I hope you're taking some time to settle into this Jools Tools episode of Mama's Flight Path today as I reflect on the challenges of returning to work as a mama and I put my coaching hat on and I share my thoughts. Today is all about too much on your plate. So let's just take a breath here. Because if you have just returned to work or you're gearing up to, it probably feels like there's just more to carry, more to juggle, more to prove. And if you're asking yourself, how am I supposed to do all of this without burning out? You're not alone. That question and the pressure is exactly what came up in my conversation with Felicia, which you'll hear the full episode on Thursday. She shared with me how she tried to keep up with work, parenting, doing a coaching qualification, all while carrying the invisible pressure to do it all. And even when people around her were telling her to slow down, she couldn't because the real pressure wasn't external, it was internal. So why do we feel like we have to be so productive? The truth is, so many of us feel like this internal pull to keep doing, like we have to do more, even when we're exhausted. I remember just being in absolute tears when my little boy always wanted contact naps, and the state of the kitchen, there was just so much I felt like I had to be doing, or I should be doing. And that's because we live in a world that equates productivity with worth, and that is especially true for women. So from school to work and to motherhood, we get rewarded for getting things done, for being responsible, for keeping everything together. Social media doesn't help with this. And when you become a mum, your sense of self shifts, the emotional load skyrockets, and the invisible labour multiplies. And because so much of what we're doing isn't seen, we feel like we have to do even more to prove we're coping and that we're still capable. And I feel like this shows up when we return to work as well. We feel like we need to prove that we're still capable and we're still the same person that we were when we left. And we are definitely not. So we stay busy, not because we're thriving, but because slowing down actually feels a bit risky. And productivity becomes a bit of an armor, and it becomes a way where we can kind of feel in control in a way that we feel safe. But here's what Felicia's story reminded me, and what I would love for you to take away today. So you don't need to earn your worth through being exhausted. That's going to take you to that burnout. And you don't need to prove you can do it all to deserve a rest. You are enough, even when you pause, and you are allowed to take a pause. So today I'm sharing with you the Drop and Delegate Map. And it's a tool that I use with women who are feeling this productivity being a challenge. And do you know what? It's rarely about poor time management. It's usually about those unspoken commitments and those clashing beliefs like, I want to be more efficient versus I must always be available for my child. I want to rest versus I don't want to let anyone down. The internal conflict that's exhausting in itself, and it creates this spiral of exhaustion. So let's map it out to kind of get out of that loop and get off that spiral. So go and grab a cuppa and a piece of paper. You can press pause and come back. Okay. Now, when you've got that piece of paper, you can fold it into 4, or you can draw 4 boxes on it, and you're going to label them do it myself. So these are things only you can do right now. So for example, with me, when I returned back to work, I still fed my son to sleep, nursed him, breastfed him until he went to sleep. And so no one else could do that. Only I could do that. So that was a do-it-myself thing. In the other box, I'm going to delegate. So these are things that someone could help you with if you ask them. And this is another thing, isn't it? Like, I don't know about you, but I often feel like it's quite hard to ask for help. So could you ask for a partner to pick up from nursery? or with doing some dinners? Or is there a non-urgent report or something that you feel that you could delegate to somebody in your team? Your third box is going to be drop, so things that you honestly do not need to do right now. So is there a coffee catch-up that you were planning that you could drop? I have a lovely friend who we're forever trying to organise coffee catch-ups, but there inevitably something happens, and if one of us says can't make it, there's absolutely zero judgment. And I hear it sometimes in her voice when she leaves me a voice note saying like, oh, everything's gone wrong this morning, I've got all these things to do, and I'm like, don't apologize, it's okay. Like, it's okay to reschedule. And you know what? If they're a good friend, they'll completely get it and understand. But it is things that you could drop. That's a hard one. And I'm pausing there, so I'm just thinking how hard that one is. So you need to be really honest when you're writing these things. And then your fourth box is going to be defer. These are things that matter, but they don't need to necessarily happen this week. So for me, it's the holiday family album. I think I defer that every week. Okay, so now I'd like you to pause. Look at those 4 boxes in front of you and ask yourself, what's really draining you right now? What belief is keeping you stuck in doing it all and doing all of those things? For me, probably the belief is that there's no one to help me. It's a belief that keeps me stuck. What's yours? If I just reflect back on Felicia's story that we're sharing on Thursday, she reflected on her burnout and she said people told her to slow down, but she didn't give herself permission. So this tool is your permission slip. It is that physical slip to say, not because you've earned it, because you deserve to feel steady, whole, and human. So this is your invitation. Your challenge today is to take 10 minutes and to create your drop and delegate map. Circle one thing that you would either like to drop or delegate or defer this week. It can be really small, but it'd be yours, your thing. Because when you stop trying to carry everything, you finally get to choose what truly matters. And if this is resonating with you, please do not miss Thursday's episode of Felicia. It's such a good one. It's just full of honesty and full of those me too moments that we just don't say out loud. She was so honest. And there was definitely some like moments of emotion in there. And she's got a little boy and twins. And oh my goodness. Yeah, it's a beautiful conversation. And she'd realised she can't do it all, and she's had to redefine what enough looks like now for her in this season. And that's pretty powerful. So enjoy. I hope you found that useful today. And don't forget, you've got this and I've got you. I'll be back on Tuesday with Felicia's full story on Mama's Flight Path. And if you feel like the load is too much, please visit my episode with Jane Morris, who's the UK's leading expert on burnout. It's episode number 13, From Burnout to Brilliance. And she leaves some really great nuggets of tools and tips in there, and some honesty and some great questions to ask yourself around if you're feeling like you're in that burnout. Thank you for listening to Mama's Flight Path. Please do take a moment to share and like this episode so we can share wider and further to more mamas. And if you have a question about your own return path, then do head over to my website, Get in Touch tab, and leave me a message there and I can do an episode on it. Until the next episode, goodbye, Mama.